Zapiayan, a long-standing friend of Ed, and I'm here with my wife Sylvia and my son Jose. And our other two children, Antonio and Veronica, unfortunately weren't able to be here in St. Louis this afternoon. And I'm going to say a few words about Ed in relationship to our family and to myself. I hear from the other speakers that Ed went by many names. For our family, he was Tio Ed. And we took that title Tio from our real uncles in Mexico when we bestowed it upon Ed because of our deep affection and our deep love for him. He did many, many things for our family. It was because of Ed that our daughter Veronica was able to meet her new grandmother and her new brothers on the day of her birth, because I called Ed from the hospital and said, Ed, can you bring Abuelita Heno, which is Sylvia's mother, and 3-year-old Antonio and Jose out to the hospital? Without hesitating, he said, sure, I can do that, and he did. In terms of Jose, we had flown to France to visit Sylvia's cousin, Maida, and when we arrived at the Paris airport, we discovered we didn't have Jose's permanent residence card. Now that was a disaster, because Jose could not get back into the United States when it was time for us to go home. So what did I do? Called Ed from Paris and said, Ed, can you go in the house, go in the file cabinet, go in Jose's folder, get his green card and express mail it to Sylvia's cousin Maida in Marseille. Of course, he did. And because of Tio Ed, Jose was able to grow up here in the United States. And with our other son, Antonio, we had a plan to go out to LA the summer before Antonio's senior year in high school to visit universities and colleges there. And right before we were ready to leave, we had the airlines reservations made, hotel reservations made, and campus visits scheduled. And just before we were ready to leave, Antonio got into a motorcycle accident and had his left leg all crunched up, and the doctors put in the full leg cast. Well, if you know, with full leg cast, you can't take a bath and you can't take a regular hot shower. So I bought one of those flexible handheld shower hoses to install before we left, but I never got a chance to do it because we had to take off. So Antonio went several days without the shower, without a bath, and he longed for a good hot shower when we came back home. So what did I do? Called up Ed. Ed, can you go in the house and install the shower hose sitting on my desk? And he hesitated a little bit and said, I think I can do that. And of course he did. And because of Tio Ed, Antonio was able to have a nice hot shower in his own bathroom in his own home when we got back. And because of Ed, our children grew up with a model of someone who is so incredibly generous and dependable. And more important, as a father, it was Ed who modeled for our children the importance of going out of your way to help people who are in need. Now, for myself personally, Ed was always Eduardo. And most every time I called him up on the phone, unless I was in a jam, I'd say, Hola, Eduardo, habla Lou, ¿cómo estás? Which is, hello, Ed, this is Lou, how are you doing? Bien, y tú, he'd answer. I'm fine, how are you? You see, like a couple of adolescent boys, Ed and I had our own secret language that we spoke to each other. It just happens that that secret language was Spanish. but no matter, it didn't matter what we were really talking about in Spanish. Our real message to each other was, hey, you're my good bud. You're my good friend. And Ed and I were good friends for 36 years. We lived in Richmond Heights together, we taught in Ladue together, as you had heard, and we shared that passion of traveling to faraway, exotic, and sometimes dangerous countries. And we both loved to be immersed in cultures and lifestyles that were far different from ours. Whenever he would travel back to Africa, or I would travel back to Mexico, we could get together and we tell each other what we discovered, what we did, what craziness we found ourselves in. He and I spent many an hour just trading stories of our adventures and misadventures during our travels in Africa, in Latin America, and in India. For 36 years, Ed and I stood witness to each other's lives. We cheered our successes and joys and achievements, and we supported each other in times of sorrow and disappointment and disillusionment. From active, vital young men in our 30s and 40s to creeping old guys with white hair in our old age, we drank from the cups of life from each other. And we tasted the sweetness and bitterness of each other's lives until the very end. I visited Ed the afternoon before he died. And he had had a full day already of many other visitors, and so as we were talking, he closed his eyes and kind of nodded off. So when I took my leave, I gave him the usual goodbye, saying, "Bye, Ed, have a good nap now, and I'll see you later in the week." Because I felt for sure I would. And I give thanks today for this opportunity to share with you what Ed meant to our family and our love for him. And I'm grateful for this second chance to say goodbye.